What's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on this video and taking time out of your day to watch this. And before we begin, all I want to say is that Elden Ring PvPers are freaking delusional, and we'll go over all of the pointers in this video by Steelovsky and G9. Destroy Asmongold's take on ER PvP. I might come off as someone who defends Asmongold, but honestly, most of the takes that they make are just so fucking bad that I do end up being like a shill for Asmongold. Let's get into it.
That's not why they were banned. So the reason why you ban weapons is actually to create diversity.
Do you want to pause there?
So the rules are as outdated as it is only possible, and also a lot of them basically makes no sense at all. So this is very bad example, and this is both like a bad example on the source material, in the meaning that the person that created the original video, and of course Asmongold, couldn't know that his theory is somewhat correct. Sometimes the tournament hosts make the rule set for the sake of to create certain environment.
This is what I mean when I say that these guys are delusional. They're missing the whole fucking point of the argument. Even if the original video, the one that Asmongold was reacting to, was 6 months off base, the reason these rules were put in place to begin with was because some builds were so overpowered they need to be removed to create build diversity so people will be more original with their builds. This is the whole point Asmongold made, and this is the whole point that really matters. The reason these rules were there was to reduce the OP builds. Even if they're not OP now, the whole point was that they were OP to begin with, and that's why the rule set is there. No one cares if they're OP now or not. The question is why the rule is there, not is the rule good. Oh my god, man. Like, this is so, like, they're taking things so literally. Let's go on to the next one.
Powered and good, then that's going to completely dominate the entire like competition. So you have to ban like the top 5 meta things if you want to have a competition that isn't just of those top 5 meta things.
Makes sense.
I mean,
like my staff, yeah, because
that's a logical point. I mean, he's kind of right on that, like, to an extent. But I mean, it depends on what people are looking for, and that's not necessarily like always a good thing. Like, it just depends on what the tournament hosts are looking for. But let's keep going. I don't think that's the important point here.
I'm just gonna add.
No, that is actually the only point here. It's not that it's the important point. It is the only point. He's talking about why the rule was made. That is why it was made, because no one wants to see the same 5 builds over and over in a tournament and who plays that build better. They want to see different builds and like uniqueness. That was the whole point of the rules to begin with. That was the whole point of why to like how to make it interesting. That was the whole point he was making. What do you mean this is not the important point? This is the point. There's nothing more to it. Like, I don't even understand, like, where the rationality is going. Like, what point are you looking for? Jesus. All right, next point.
because everybody will use it. Exactly. Because the reason why Rivers of Blood, everybody uses it, is because it's really good.
I love that they're laughing about this.
It's like insanely fucking good.
Rivers is really good, man. But here's the thing. Keep going. I want to go back.
This is where they're also missing the point, and the next, like, 5 to 10 minutes of this will be about them basically getting to the point that Rivers of Blood has been nerfed so much. That's not the point. If I quit at, like, vanilla, I know Rivers of Blood is broken, okay? Even now, when you see a lot of the PvP, even like in G9's, G9, I guess, video, if you look at his videos, you will often see Rivers of Blood and the Moonveil Katana, okay? They're extremely popular. People used to know that they're OP, and that's the whole point. No one is keeping up with what's OP in PvP. Sorry. No one's keeping up with what's OP in PvP. No one cares because no one fucking plays Elden Ring for its PvP. Like, you're such a small minority. You're literally the 1% of society that is asking that the 99% will, like, will do things for you. Okay? Like, that's who you are. You are irrelevant, technically, on like a statistical playing field. You are irrelevant to Elden Ring. You pay one time like everyone else. It doesn't matter how many hours you spend. I could have just bought the game, never played. I would be as valuable as someone who played 500 hours, who played 5,000 hours. It doesn't matter. It's not a sub game. This is a point I'm going to make later as well. But no one cares that Rivers of Blood is not OP right now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the point that he's trying to make. They're OP builds that everyone uses. No one wants to see 5 rounds in a row of Rivers of Blood versus Rivers of Blood. Oh, you know, okay, Rivers of Blood is not OP now. Okay, right now I believe this is the Pike meta or whatever, like the 2, you know, the double fucking whatever they're called, lances. Now that's the meta. It's like no one wants to see a fight of like, you know, 5 to 10 matches of people trying to stab each other with 2 fucking spears. That's the whole point he's trying to make. It doesn't matter which weapon is OP right now. Oh my god, I don't know why this is so annoying to me, but it's like, these guys have like, they sound very logical, but like, they have absolutely zero logic in their arguments. It's like they're taking the argument word for word rather than what the argument is standing for. Like, what are you even trying to dismantle here? You guys are just like completely missing all of the points being made. Let's go to the next one.
It's not a PvP game.
It's not.
So don't rebalance weapons or anything because it's not a PvP game, bro.
No. What he said is, don't rebalance at the expense of PvE. And I would even further that point and say, don't waste resources that you could use to make a better DLC on something as pretty much irrelevant as Elden Ring PvP. I would even further that point, if anything. Because it doesn't even matter that they rebalance Rivers of Blood, they rebalance all of this. There's a new meta build. Like, it doesn't matter that they're rebalancing stuff for PvP. All it did was change what was the new OP build. So yeah, what's the point of rebalancing for PvP when you're just gonna use the new... Look at this battle in this video. Go to the original channel. Like, I don't think I'll show enough of it. Everyone is using... See the lance on his back? Right here? Him and pretty much everyone is using 2 of these. With different Ashes of War. Okay, so they nerf Rivers of Blood. Okay, so now we're all gonna use these lances because lances, they rebalance their, I believe it's like their crouch attack and like their whatever. So like you can throw people off. I know G9 explained it, but it's like, who cares? There's always gonna be a meta build. It's gonna be like the more OP build for every situation. Who gives a shit? There's no real point rebalancing the PvP if there's always gonna be an overpowered build. Really, you're just wasting resources on PvP that no one really plays. Not to disrespect you, like, good job, you guys are fucking amazing in PvP. Here's some brownie points, but it's like, who gives a shit? The game is not the game is not a PvP game. Them allowing it is a bonus. Don't expect more. This is literally like they gave you the finger. They gave you like, here's the finger, which is like, here's some PvP content that you guys can do. Like, we'll let you guys do PvP, but this is not our focus. And you are expecting to take the up to the fucking shoulder. Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck are you to even ask for that? You are such a minority in this community. You can complain all you want. Don't get me wrong. It's your right to complain. But you're such a minority in this community that you expect them to actually put resources into PvP at the expense of what the game is actually about. Are you fucking retarded? Shouldn't have used that word, but like, are you fucking insane? Okay? It's like asking League of Legends to put more resources into advancing their bots while the game revolves around PvP, and you want the community would be like, you know, a 1% of the community would be like, hey, can we get like stronger bots? Like, We can't fight like the bots are just too boring. They're just too stupid. Can we get better AI for the bots? Dude, no one wants to waste resources on the PvE aspect of League of Legends. Same as like no one wants to waste resources on the PvP aspect of Elden Ring. It makes absolutely no sense. Monetary, it makes absolutely no sense.
Can we get rid of stupid myth of PvE game, PvP game, and so on?
No, we can't, because like that's where the money is at. This is not a PvP game. It's a PvE game which allows for PvP. There's completely different. It's like when World of Warcraft was released, was a PvE game that allowed PvP. It had PvP servers, yeah, but there was no arena, there's no battlegrounds, there's no like dedicated PvP. It was essentially a PvEVP game or PvPVE, whatever, with like some zones you could PvP in. That was like, so to call WoW originally as a PvP game, no, now you can, because now WoW has a massive PvP category with its own dedicated play and its own leveling and item level systems. Elden Ring doesn't have that. Elden Ring has everything. So here's the thing. In order for you to do PvP in Elden Ring, you have to go through a shit ton of PvE. Hundreds hours-ish of PvE, okay? Obviously, when you're like a pro, whatever, it can take you like, you can speed run, you can get the exact items you want, whatever, and you know what you need to do, speed level, all that shit, right? So yeah, it can take you less. But overall, I would say in general, if I'm a new player who wants to play PvP in this game, I have to spend about 100 to 150 hours just to get into the PvP aspect of it, because I would need to get the items, I would probably need to clear the game, I would need to hit level 125, and I want to have as many of the weapons as possible, so I'll have to get New Game Plus to get copies of the same weapon multiple times. You need to do a shit ton of PvE to just even start doing PvP. This is not a PvP game. Get that in your head. Like, it's not complicated. The game doesn't focus around PvP.
Every single update, every single patch of Elden Ring, and every single other Souls game ever was mostly PvP focused.
Yes, most of the patches are PvP focused. Why? Because they nail their PvE aspect. They don't need to overbalance the PvE. They are doing you a favor by wasting development time on the PvP aspect. They don't owe you shit. You bought the game once. That's it. Like, you're not paying a sub. This is not a live service fucking game. You should be thankful that they're even balancing PvP, if anything. And this might sound condescending and whatever, but that's just the reality of it. They don't owe you shit. The game is a PvE game. They are allowing PvP, and they even went out of their way to have a dedicated team that would fix the PvP balances while they work on the next PvE stuff. The PvP shit doesn't give them any money, by the way. They can remove PvP altogether, completely remove it from the series, from the Souls and the Elden Ring, and they would suffer almost no monetary loss. If anything, they probably would make more money because they wouldn't have to waste any time on that design and the balances and the weapons and all that stuff, and they just focus on PvE. Even though they might sell a bit less copies, which probably not that many, not that much less, okay? Because even these PvP players enjoyed the PvE aspect at least once, okay? So they probably won't lose much money, and they would save money on the development costs for everything else that has to do with PvP. So, say thank you and shut the fuck up. Like, you are so delusional to think that the game devs owe you more than what they already gave you. This is what you need to understand. This is not a PvP game. It's a PvE game that allows for PvP. This is completely different things. Man, I'm coming off so rude, but this, like, I don't know how to drill this point any harder, because these guys just do not seem to understand what it means to be a PvP game or a PvE game or something that has both. World of Warcraft is both. Final Fantasy is a PvE game with some PvP. Why? Because the PvP aspect of Final Fantasy is not being developed on. I mean, up until Endwalker, there was almost practically no PvP. Okay, Guild Wars 2 is more PvE still with some, but it has PvP aspects. But to say something like Guild Wars 2 is a PvP game, you are wrong. This is an aspect of the game that is allowed, but like if we look at the focus of Guild Wars 2 in terms of PvP, almost non-existent. You have 2 modes for PvP. That's it. Okay? The whole game is surrounded about like PvE and has some aspects for PvP to like extracurriculum activity. That's what it is. Extracurriculum activity. That's what PvP is in Elden Ring. Anyways, I've been through this point well enough. Let's just keep going. Here's another great point he makes. Literally, he makes the point against himself. This is fucking brilliant. You can't even make this shit up.
Doesn't matter. It's like, you know, it's just, it sometimes feel like it is just slapped on.
It is. It is slapped on. PvP is slapped on to do you a favor. They don't owe you this.
It is true. But it is mostly because From Software as a studio has the overall business plan focused around kind of reusing their resources.
No, what you needed to say is what you probably meant to say is FromSoft's business design is to deliver a great PvE experience with hard bosses, with hard mechanics, with dodging, with great combat. That is their business model. And that is what the game is really about. I understand you live in the delusion that Dark Souls 1 had these factions and Dark Souls 3 had some factions or whatever and all that shit. Like, yeah. You're Fantasyland because there were some PvP elements to the game that encouraged you to do PvP, that this was somehow a PvP game. If anything, they did the right thing in Elden Ring by removing the time waste on these factions, in my opinion. Because still, even with all of this incentive in Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3 for PvP, it was still such a minute aspect of the game. No one cared about it. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, you spent thousands of hours, but the vast majority of the paying customer didn't give a shit about it. So the less time they're wasting on that aspect of the game, the more time they have to make the game better for the actual people who are making it. Imagine this scenario, okay? You are a club promoter, okay? Your goal is to bring as many people as possible into your club. Now, there is a group of... let's say your club can have 1,000 people in, right? Capacity is 1,000. There's a certain group of 50 people that will come no matter what. Fucking, there's no music playing, they'll be there because of the drinks. You know, there's like no drinks, but the music is playing, they'll be there. Like the washrooms are disgusting, they'll still come, okay? These people, no matter what you do, they will still come to your club, give you the entrance fee, and still be there. Do you cater to those people who are always there, or do you cater to the 950 other people that you want to bring in? You cater to the 950 people, because why would you care about the ones who are always there? In terms of business, this makes no sense. In terms of gratitude, you can be, you know, like, you can give them a bottle sometimes and be like, yo, thank you guys for always supporting us. Sure. You can give them like the little like brownie point, okay? But in terms of like, you want to maintain your business, you need to bring in those 950 other people in. So you want to cater to them. It's simple as that. It's such a weird point that he's making here. It's like, oh, well, From Software design is for PvE. Well, no shit. Yeah, that's where the money is at. Oh, let's go to the next point.
I think he's mostly talking about they should not care about PvP because it's not as popular. Because
you got the fucking point. You got it. You are there. That's it. That's the whole point. From a business perspective, they shouldn't care. It's a waste of resources. No one is playing that aspect of the game. Yes, it does not fucking matter. The game wouldn't be any worse if they removed PvP, essentially. I'm not saying they should remove it, but let's be real about it. If they removed it, the game would barely suffer any losses from it. If anything, probably save some money. Next point.
But PvP is not 50% of Elden Ring. It's like 5.
In an age
I mean, it
where
depends for who.
Yeah, it depends what you are doing.
For me, it's more like 95.
Yeah.
But no one is talking about your degenerate play of PvP. No one is asking you, like, oh, what are you doing most in PvP? In general, look at the Steam charts, look at the Twitch engagement, look at any other metric out there that you can think of, and tell me what are people interested in when it comes to Elden Ring. Yeah, well, there's always going to be the weirdos who play a certain game, and honestly, sometimes I'm jealous of these people. I'm actually pretty jealous of these people who can spend thousands of hours on the same game without any changes. Kudos to you for having such a brain that allows you to do that. Most people cannot. It's boring as hell. For you, the PvP is replayable. Good for you. But honestly, no one is playing Elden Ring for PvP. Oh, it's 95% for me. I only did the PvE once, where like it took me like 100 hours, and now I have 3,000 hours on the game, which was pretty much, aside from those 100 hours of PvE, I did it for PvP. So what? You paid the same amount of money. It's not a subscription-based game. It's not like you pay more the more you play. My brain, holy hell. Let's go to the next point.
I know many people just skip the PvP altogether, but to be fair, oftentimes a thriving multiplayer community might just propel a game to legend
Can I
status.
add to that? Like, I don't think his Team Fortress reference is relevant, but I think that it is very true that PvP can propel a game.
Oh, 100% PvP can propel a game. However, notice he also said thriving PvP community. Elden Ring PvP community is not thriving. It's on life support, if anything.
And I think, like, I really think that even these players like Asmongold did give a chance to PvP, and it did not impress them, of course.
Yeah.
But it can impress them if it's done right. But, you know, there needs to be some work put into it for it to be done right. And that...
Yeah, but is that work gonna be worth it? Can you, like, the thing is, this is what I don't think these people understand. Elden Ring is not what most people would consider ideal for a PvP. Okay? There's no development of PvP. Like, how would you make this game... Sorry, how would you make this game's PvP aspect into something successful that the game can thrive on? Are you gonna make a ranking system? Can you buy rewards with like certain marks you're gonna get from doing PvP? Are you gonna basically separate everyone to their rank? Like, how would you make this into a proper PvP game? Use any other PvP game that you can think of. What do they all have in common? What is a PvP game? Everyone starts at like level 1 or with no gear. Or they have pre-loadouts, or they gather the weapons and stuff like that on the fly, like basically BRs and shit, right? Battle Royales, right? These are the popular PvP stuff for you, right? League of Legends, where everyone starts at level 1, okay? Shooters, which is basically like you have your loadout, or like you make money with each round, like say CS or Valorant. And the other one would be something like a Battle Royale. So the only way that you can kind of make Elden Ring PvP work out of those three would most likely be something similar to League of Legends system, where it's like everyone starts at level 1, and as you fight, somehow you get stronger, which makes no sense. Okay, so no, let's scratch that. Shooter, which is basically what you kind of have now, which is you start with a loadout, but then what is the reward because like your loadout you get from doing PvE. So how do you have access to more loadouts doing only PvP, right? And also like in shooters, you know, a gun can beat a machine gun. in PvP here, you're not gonna beat a level 100 being level 1, right? Levels do play a role, stats play a role. So it's like you would have to kind of remove that aspect of grinding PvE. I know you said it's like, oh, I just use an anti-cheat, whatever, just make a character, give it everything I want. Yeah, by the way, that's not legal. I know that, well, legal. That's not like, you know, up to the terms of service, and Elden Ring, if they ever want to act upon it, you're gonna get screwed, right? And I don't think most people want to even try to do that, just literally of the fear of getting banned, even if there's like almost no chance of that happening. Most people won't do that, so that's already an uneven playing field, right? And then the third one is Battle Royale, which is probably the most reasonable option, where it's like you create a PvP character, it starts, all PvP characters are locked to like level 125, right? And then you just randomly spawn in the zone, everyone is an enemy, and it's like you can pick up weapons and spells on the fly. And whenever you pick a spell, you also pick up the stuff relevant to it, or it's like it's right next to it or some shit like that. Does that sound like a good PvP experience to you? I doubt anyone would. And this doesn't even account for the problems of connectivity, like how the players interact with each other during PvP matches, of role catching issues and stuff like that, or like, you know, being damaged even though like you were in the middle of a roll, or not being damaged even though you rolled late, right? You know, the latency issue with Elden Ring PvP. So there's so many issues. Like, just think about how much development time this would take with probably no real reward for the business. They will not make extra money because this is not subscription based, right? And how much the PvE aspect of the game would suffer from making such a game, like such a big PvP aspect of the game. This makes absolutely no sense to put in so much effort. And I've dug this point before, but like I can't emphasize this enough. There is absolutely no incentive for FromSoft to enhance the PvP experience of Elden Ring, where it barely gives them any money. This is how you go bankrupt. You listen to people who don't care about the business. They just care about, I want to have fun. Without like, at the expense of the business if they have to. As long as they're having fun, everything is fine. But hey, it's the death of the fucking development company. Oh, that's fine. As long as I have fun. Very, very egotistical. Anyways, let's go to the next point.
No, but I think the takeaway from this is that, man, it's so unfortunate to have this like very popular opinion of PvP is not important because not a lot of people play it. I feel it's like it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like,
but that's the whole point. Yes, it's not important because not a whole lot of people play it. Not a whole lot of people will buy the game for the PvP aspect. That's just the reality of things. I mean, like, you can't change that. That's what the game is about. Now, if FromSoft wants to release a Souls-like game that is PvP focused, good luck. You know, like the PvPers will be happy. Hopefully, honestly, if they do, they should make it a sub-based, so that these PvPers will at least give them some money. Because I do not see them making any money if they make it as a buy-to-play game. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, or at least they can need to start selling cosmetics, though. You know, I mean, look at all the PvP games that are popular. First of all, the most popular ones are free to play with a ton of cosmetics and like XP boosters and all that shit and season passes and all that. It's like, is that what you want for Elden Ring? Because that's what you get. That's the only way PvP can be profitable, is by doing stuff like that, which is the hard monetization. There's a reason that they're doing it. Because the other way is not profitable. Not even close. It's like a tenth, if that, of the profits. I'm pretty sure it's even less than a tenth. Like, yeah, like your complaint is valid. Yeah, would it be better? But it's like, it's not like it just magically happens. it's a workforce that needs to do it. It's a budget thing. There's so many issues with what you're requesting that is just like, maybe they can hire you guys for free to do it, you know? Like, they can hire the experts of the community to do it for free. And they would code it, and they would make the balances, and FromSoft can just continue doing, oh, you know what? There's actually people who do that. They're called modders, who actually make mods with shit like that. And probably there'll be a mod for PvP with other balances. There you go. It's an open source game. Instead of complaining to FromSoft, go ahead. You waste your own resources with modders and make the PvP game that you want. See how that works out for you. See how many people play it. And that would give you a good idea of if it's worth the time investment and the money. You might have fun, but you're such a small minority. No, you should not be catered to. No offense, but not every minority should be catered to. If you're 1% or less of the population of the game, the 99% should not suffer for you to have a better time. No. You should get accustomed to the 99% rather than the 99% getting accustomed to you. That's just how it is. And I know we're living in 2023 and that's not like the case, but there's a lot of shit that's happening because of it. I don't want to go into politics, but yeah, this whole take, man, like, honestly, like, I get that, like, Steelovsky and G9, I don't know which is which. I know which one's G9. Oh, G9, okay. I finally connected that G9 Media and Steelovsky. Wow. You literally, your whole argument sounds like this. Me, I need, please, you guys, That's what your argument sounds like. That's literally what you're asking. You're asking them to stop doing what they're doing to make your experience better. And now you're saying, like, well, no, we don't want to stop what they're doing in order to make our experience better. We want to happen at the same time. Well, it doesn't magically happen. They need people to work on this shit. They need people to listen to the community, to read what all the community, and it's not like, well, just listen to my opinion, don't listen to them. No, they have to listen to a lot of opinions. They have to do a lot of fucking calculations. And like, you might do the calculations for them, and then like, well, we want this to be like this, because we have our own philosophy as well, even though you might not like it, but like someone else might. So it's like your opinion doesn't trump another player's opinion just because you have more hours in this game. Okay? So yeah, there's so many issues with what you're suggesting. It's like you're not offering a way for them to actually properly do this. All you're asking is for them to do it regardless of anything else. Regardless of the cost it would take them, regardless of the fact that they're not making any money by bringing you these patches. Bug fixes and stuff, I understand. They need to do that because it like actively ruins the game to have certain bugs that like ruin the PvE experience and make exploits. It just kills, like, it just ruins the game. But as far as PvP is concerned, PvP can be the most broken shit. Everyone's using the same fucking spell. Let's say the thing with the stars is the most OP spell and everyone fucking uses it. They shouldn't even balance it. They'll be like, yeah, whatever. If you are tired of it, just stop using it. Like, that's how much PvP is important in Elden Rings. It's not. They shouldn't waste any time on it. They should make more PvE content instead. They should release DLCs faster than once every other year. Because we don't even know if DLC will be out this year. It's already been a year and we still don't have a DLC, and we don't even know if it's going to be this year. DLC for a game like Elden Ring that made the fucking broke records. Game of the year. Fantastic gameplay overall. Sold way more than what is needed to make a good profit. This game should have DLCs coming out every year. Not some fucking PvP bullshit. You should be thankful they even gave you Colosseum. Anyways, that's the take. I don't know, man. Tell me what you think. I think these PvPers are delusional as fuck. Like, these takes are just super bad. They either misrepresent what is said, or they take it out of context, or like they take it too literal. It's like, I don't understand how their brain works. You would think people like this, who like calculate stats for a living and calculate numbers and do all these like fucking mathematical shit in the game would have a more logical brain and not take things so fucking literally and actually look at the broader picture. You would think these people would have more sense, but I guess not. Like, holy fuck, man. Anyways, that's the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.